Good evening. It's just 10 to 6, Wednesday 27th of June, and I'm on the river tonight. I've come down for a spot of chub and barbel fishing. Arrived here about 40 minutes ago or so. Unloaded the gear. I've taken a walk along. There's another chap fishing a bit further down, so I don't want to go anywhere near him and disturb him. It'd be totally unfair. But I've seen some smaller fish in the swim here. Rather than fishing from the normal part of the swim there, the reeds have really grown up in front of it, so I've moved down a few feet and I'm fishing from this particular spot here because it gives me a little bit more access to the water. Fishing with 2 rods tonight. I'm probably going to stay up until about dark, which is around 10, half 10. I might move over to wooden rod as we approach darkness so I don't get any problems with tangles. But absolutely stunning day. It's really gorgeous. There's loads of damselflies flitting around in front of me. They're all over the place, but I found a nice little shady spot to get under, and yeah, keep me out of the sun. It's a bit warm out there at the moment, and I can always move up into the sunshine a little bit later on if it starts to get too chill, but I doubt whether it will, to be honest. Anyway, as I said, I'm fishing 2 rods tonight, and it's just river feeder on a running rig, anti-tangle sleeve. I've got a couple of foot hook length on there. I'm fishing a size 8 hook, and I'm actually fishing boilies tonight, probably on both rods. I might put pellet on the other rod, but at the moment the plan is to fish with boilies, and I'll not get that back in there. And for bait, I haven't brought a huge quantity because I won't need a huge quantity. I've got some good old lobworms just in case all else fails. I've got some marine halibut oil. I've got a load of pellets, and I've got a few 15mm boilies. And what I plan to do in a moment is to give these pellets a liberal squirt of this, damp them up a little bit with some water so they'll just pack nicely in the feeder, just go soft rather than mushy. And as I said, boilie on the hook, worm, might fish some of the larger pellets on the hook as well. We'll see how it's going, but I wouldn't expect to be getting any fish until probably after 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, when that sun starts to drop away a little bit. That's my usual experience of river fishing. Either get there early in the morning, as early as possible, and sport's pretty good up until about 9, or arrive late, wait till certainly after 6 o'clock till the sun starts descending. Anyway, in this particular stretch they're supposed to be chubbed to about a £5. The barbel, I think the biggest recorded is about 14, but to be honest I don't care if I get a chub of £2 and a barbel of 3. I'll be quite happy. It's just lovely being out. Right, so as you can see, I've got 2 rods on a tripod. I know I needed it for over here. It's very difficult with rod rests because of how the banks are here. Got both of them on a tripod, fishing £10 straight through. The rods are £2 test curve. So if you multiply the test curve by 5, that gives me a line rating of 10, keep it balanced. I could go up to 12 if I wanted, or a bit more perhaps, but I'll stick at 10. There's not too many issues here snag wise. But I I'll have a pan round and show you the swim. Sun's not quite in the right place for good filming at the moment, but there's not much I can do about that, and as I've got a tree and a bush the other side of me, it's very difficult to get the camera situated anywhere else. It's absolutely difficult to see in this sunlight against the lens, but basically there's a lovely clean run about a third of the way across just down here, and then there's another spot that I'm going to put the other rod just over the far side there into the quieter water. There's some trees down below me here, and I'm pretty sure there's some fish hiding under those that will come upstream a little bit later on. I've seen a lot of smaller fish down here, but I've not seen a bigger one. Now comes the difficult part for a lot of people, and that's sitting on your hands and waiting. And a lot of people can't do it. They're too keen to get those rods in and get fishing. And it's been well documented, so I'm not saying nothing new, but I know from my own experience, because I'm going to be perfectly honest, when I was younger I made all the mistakes. I'm still making some now, but I certainly made all the mistakes when I was younger. Get fishing too quickly. Mind you, I didn't have as much patience when I was younger as I do now. But anyway, back to that subject. The best thing to do is, as I've said, sit and wait. Give it a minimum of half an hour if you can is better, and let the fish settle. If you go in straight away, yeah, you might catch one, you might even catch two sometimes, but if you're prepared to wait and you wait that hour, the fish get feeding confidently, and you'll usually be able to extract a few more from out the swim. Certainly when I've been down on rivers like the Team, where it's very low and it's very clear and you're very high up the bank, so you can really look down into the water, providing you've got the sun on there and you've got your Polaroids on, you can really look down and you see the fish hanging over, you know, in the weed or under a bush, and get some hemp in. I used to hemp most of the time I used to fish, haven't got any tonight, but most of the time, or pellets, whatever it is, and just leave it there, and you'll see they drift out and they come out into the current, up, feed, drift back, up, feed, drift back all the time. And if you leave them for long enough, you'll get them feeding confidently, and even when you've taken one or two from out the swim, they won't be too perturbed. Yes, if you haven't got much patience, learn to cultivate it. It'll pay dividends. There's always plenty to do anyway. If you get yourself a camera, or even on your phone now, most people have got mobile phones that have got fantastic cameras on. Take some pictures of scenery, wildlife while you're waiting. Or read a book. Or make your phone calls to loved ones so they don't disturb you later on. Well, it's gone 7 o'clock. Bait's been down there a good hour and a half, so I think it's pretty safe to put a rod in now. I haven't seen anything, but it's deep water. You can't just look down into the swim. It's not like the team for example, where I'd be able to, but pellets have just soaked that up nice, just about the right consistency. Just pack those in because I want them to come out very slowly. And I'm going to put this first rod in quite close, actually, just down in front of me here, where it just goes round this tree. There's been a few small fish down here, so there's every likelihood that there'll be some larger ones as well. Put the bait runner on just in case. I don't bother if I can actually sit over right over the rods, but I'm not in a position to do that at the moment. I'll move the chair down there in a little while. That's about it. And I'm putting this one quite a way down the swim here, where it goes into the deeper water. About right. Let out a little bit of line and tighten up. Right, I'm going to go round and have a look down there, and then I can see if I've got that in the right place. I've actually got the rods set reasonably low, so that when I'm sitting in this chair and I'm just looking out, they're only just a little bit above my normal field of vision. So I'm not staring up at the sky, which tends to give you neck ache, or it certainly does me. So that's about right. I'd actually like to get them a little lower as well, because one of the things I did learn from a lot of shallow stream chubbing and fishing shallow clear rivers is that the angle of the line is quite paramount. When I've been down on the team all day fishing, you get a few fish in the morning, and then what you used to find is in the middle of the day those fish are still there, and they'll come out and they'll come up, and you see them approaching the bait. Doesn't matter what bait you're using, whether it's meat, boilies, whatever, and you'll see them coming up and approaching it. But what will actually happen is, as they get near to it, they turn away, they shy away from it, something spooks them. And yet, once the sun has started to drop over the other side and it's no longer on the river, that changes, and they'll come suddenly out into the current, up to where your bait is. I've watched them, bang, straight on it. Something they've been ignoring all day, they've just dropped straight on. And I worked out that that's what it was. It was the angle of the line going in the water. When the sun's up high, it reflects more. It's just 9:20 now. I've had the rods in for about an hour and 20 minutes. Apart from a few plucks on the tip, nothing much. I've seen and heard one or two fish splash a bit further down, and where I've got the one rod over the far side, there's been quite a few bubbles coming up over there, but I've not had a take yet. As you can see, the sun has just disappeared behind the house in the distance, so I should imagine if anything's going to happen, it will be over the next hour. As I said, I'm here up until it gets dark. Somewhere between 10 and 10:30 I'll be away, so we'll give it till then. As a lad came down earlier, he said that last week he'd hooked and lost a barbel, but I've not come across anybody else that has yet. So I've had a couple of walks along the stretch, and I've seen lots and lots of small chub about that size. I've not seen any big ones, which is quite unusual for a stretch of river, and I've not seen any barbel either. I normally can locate them. I know some of the areas on this stretch are a little bit deep, so perhaps I just can't see them, or the sun's at the wrong angle. But anyway, we'll stick it out and see what happens. As I said, it should start to come alive now, and activity should start to pick up. So anyway, fingers crossed. I think it's still on. It had just gone round to the reeds on the other side. Oh, that's woke it up a bit. Well, here we are. Looks like a chub, and it is. I was beginning to think there was nothing decent in here, but here we are. Oh. I think I'm over the other rod there. I'll have to take him out just the other side. He's free now. He was in those reeds for a second, but I've got it round here now. Bit difficult with the net, but he's ours. Yes. Oh. I was beginning to think, whoops, that there was nothing decent living in here, but I was wrong. Oh. Right, let's get him away, get him up the bank. There we go. It's not a monster, but I was beginning to think there was no decent chub in here. Anything above about 6 inches, so I'm quite pleased. It's been had by a pike, the looks of it. But anyway, we've got something. I'm going to slip that back and get the rod back in. Well, small victories. I've just put the head torch on. I've packed one rod away now because I think 2 rods would be a liability, as I said earlier, once it got dark. And it's easy to get tangles. I was fortunate then that I could see where the line was round the other rod, and I was able to move it to net my fish. As I said, not a monster, but I've been walking up and down the river not seeing anything at all bigger than about 6 inches, so I was quite pleased really. There's every hope that something bigger might be there. There was a pike came up for it when I was bringing it in as well. Didn't see it at first. When it came down here, decent sized pike made a grab for it. I could see it got the marks on it when sorry, I'm trying to keep an eye on the rod top as well. Could see it had got the marks on it, but if there's something of that size in here, there's a good chance there are some bigger fish. As I said, there's a lot of deep water that you can't see into, so I'm going to stick it out for a little bit longer, just in case his big brother's hiding somewhere, or the barbel somewhere. It's just 3 minutes past 10 now. It's not quite dark. I'll give it a little bit longer. But what I'm going to do is I think I'll wrap the vlog up here, and if I do catch anything else, I'll add it on. So until the next time, once again, thanks very much for watching, and all the best with your angling.